I try to avoid controversial issues with extended family and friends, especially in this political climate. How do I know when to keep my mouth shut and when to speak up around these sorts of issues in a family context? Another question, how can you call out or address someone who is being racist in a loving way? Facebook is rampant with it.
You can't be a racist in a loving way. I was kidding.
Thanks for that helpful
Boom,
comment.
ching.
So for that first part, you know, what did Jesus say? He says, I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. And he says that...
Metaphorically.
For sure. But the metaphor was
exactly,
family, right? To family, that there's this wedge that gets created when your allegiance is with Christ. So it's a metaphorical sword. I co-sign on that one. But but in that person's question, that there's that the fear, it sounds like, behind the question is that I'm going to potentially alienate some family members by taking a stand for what I believe in my heart is right. So I'm going to say take a stand for what you believe in your heart is right, and understand that there may be some alienation. But I don't say that cavalierly. I understand. I mean, I've had black people mad at me for trying to do the work of reconciliation, because in one sense we feel like when we get into these spaces, and I say we, I can't speak for every black person, of course, but in circles I've been in, we feel like once we get to this place where we say we're going to be together and we're going to, it really means I'm still going to get whitewashed. It's still going to be that there'll be this overwhelming number of white people who want to be reconciled, but that means I'm going to have to give up more than they'll have to give up. So there's a fear that something about our culture is going to get diminished and all for the sake of that, and our culture was already feeling diminished and marginalized and alien. So there's this difficulty of entering into that space. So calling stuff out does mean that even when I hear a hateful comment in my black circles toward white people, I need to call that out. But when I see people doing the same on the other side, I need to call it out. I feel that way with sexist comments. I mean, I feel like I need to call it out. Facebook's not the forum. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But I do think that, but when you're at the table and you have those conversations, when we know the right thing to do, I think we have to do it.
Now, do you think that, take somebody, call him Bill, and his grandmother is a racist. Are you suggesting that he should always be pointing that out to her? I mean, is there some room to knowing what the person's like, and do we just accept them as they are, or?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying he should stop loving his grandmother, but I am saying that it's like with anybody. We teach people at where they are to get them to another place. So when my 3-year-old asks me where babies come from, it's a different answer than maybe if a 10-year-old was asking me about it. So I think it'd be a different answer. So I think I want.
I hope it'd be a different.
Yeah. So I think I want my answers or my interactions to be appropriate to where that person is, but I don't think I want to just let it go.
Mm-hmm. Even if you've addressed it before, and maybe it's the kind of thing. I mean, there is a scale there. How much you accommodate, and how much you keep pushing.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's ever a point where you come to the conclusion, this is just the way she is. There's not going to be a change there. And maybe then all you can do is pray for him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I'm a little reluctant to go there, maybe because I feel like that happens too much, that there's a sense of, oh, I don't want to go there. That's who they are. I'm just going to let it go. And so, but, for Bill's grandmother, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to set her over the edge. So I don't want to. I don't want to hurt her. But
she'll get the gun. Yeah.
But I do think that there may be a loving way to try to get her to look at stuff a little bit differently. So I think that those interactions can be those places.
A friend of mine had a grandma. She just died last year, but she was a full-fledged Nazi to the bitter end, and she was a miserable, bitter woman. But they hated to be around her because she would always spout out anti-Semitic stuff. But he felt like, out of love, he was called to keep on. He was loving her, even though he gave up trying to talk to her about it. They'd had fights. I just
I mean, I can't speak for each individual's circumstance, but I kind of would hope at least there'll be some kind of pricking of conscience.
Well, you're right. I think the much more common approach is just, especially in Minnesota, we like niceness and peaceness, and don't go out of your way to cause conflict. You know, if you push that button, Christmas is going to be ruined. So we're good at not pushing the button. Yeah. Okay, there then.